All that is noble and laudable is to be achieved only through difficulties and trials, and tears and dangers. There are no other roads. Life, if it's going to be abundant, must have plenty of hills and vales, plenty of sunshine and rough weather. It must be rich in obfuscation and perspicacity. This saying of late Tai Sholari simply means that whatever is worth having in life, you have to struggle to get it. Anything worth having at all. This is Breaking Barriers on the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA 10, Lagos. I am Adedayo Adeniji. Never mind that your regular presenter is not on ground today. Next time you see her, hail and hearty.
By continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream. Don't stop running toward your dream.
Have you ever had your back against the wall with harsh winds of life blowing against you? And did you think all hope was lost? Breaking barriers, inspiring stories of incredible breakthrough.
I had told myself that I would never let the past destroy my future. And that's one thing I had in mind, that no matter what it costs, I will get where I want to go.
From hopelessness to fulfillment, from the valley to the mountaintop, from grass to grace, where there is a will, there is a way.
I believe in positive brainwash. When you get used to think positive thoughts, it becomes your default state of mind. This is why I love to hear about success stories. It motivates me and gives me hope. If others did it, I can do it too.
Breaking barriers.
You're welcome back onto the program once again. And today, the guest on the program is an exceptional individual, a powerful character that has been able to survive the vicissitudes of life and at the end of the day, excel. And he's a perfect role model who Nigerians, particularly the younger generation, should be willing to emulate and move forward in spite of whatever circumstances or challenge that is facing them. Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba, a very committed technocrat, is the former permanent secretary, Old Oyo State, and the first secretary to the government and head of service of Osun State at creation in August 1991, who laid a solid foundation for the then newly created state. He is also the former Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the National Economic Reconstruction Fund, NERFund, an SME financing institution, and contributed immensely to the development of SME subsector in Nigeria and indeed Africa. Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba was at a time the first vice chairman of the Association of African Development Finance Institution, AADFFI, and member of the Governing Council of the World Association of Small and Medium Enterprises, WASME. Chief Abuaba is the chairman CEO of Moinab Limited, an SME consultancy and training outfit. With these plethora of achievements and successes, you'll think our guest on Breaking Barriers today was born with silver spoon in his mouth. It will shock you to know that young Moses Inolaji Abuaba was a basket weaver from Ibajo, Osun State. His father, Taiwo Abuaba, was a timber sawyer, while his mother was a petty trader. The demise of his father made the family even poorer. So, advancing his education beyond primary school was a tall dream for young Abuaba. He had to combine farming, basket weaving, log selling, and petty trading with support from relatives to complete his secondary school education. How was he able to defy difficult childhood and poverty to become a success? Let's find out from our guest on Breaking Barrier, Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba.
From grass to grace, where there is a will, there is a way.
I believe in positive brainwash. When you get used to think positive thoughts, it becomes your default state of mind. This is why I love to hear about success stories. It motivates me and gives me hope. If others did it, I can do it too.
Breaking barriers.
That was a short background information about my guest today, Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba. You're welcome onto Breaking Barriers, sir.
Thank you so much.
Were you born with silver spoon in your mouth? Or were you born into wealth?
Sorry, I wasn't. I was born by poor parents, but who I cherish. Because even in their poverty, they were hardworking, and they don't believe in cutting corners. My parents were poor. My daddy was a poor sawyer. I'm from Ibadan, by the way, and that's our profession. After that is education, if you talk about Ibadan. But during my childhood, I didn't have the opportunity of my father being able to sow any element of wealth because he was incapacitated at his stage after having used the most of his energy in pursuance of his trade. My mother was a petty trader who goes to neighboring town to go and trade, to work there and come back. But she was able at least to sustain the children, including me, the only son, as at that time. In terms of my education, it is just God's grace. And that's why if you have a copy of my biography, the title is Power of His Grace. But if anybody told you then that I will ever be anything, you say they should forget about it. But God is always there. And if you persevere, like we have said, the sky is the limit. It was through providence that I was able to have education.
How? In what way?
Even at the primary school level, it was a struggle. But happily, at the time I would have dropped out, Jibabolo introduced in 1954 free education. That was what made me to be able to complete my primary education. And two, by the time I was going to secondary school, it was because Ibajos had Kiridge Memorial College, which was a community secondary school then, because nobody else would have been able, no matter my brilliance, to help me, because I would eventually find out I won't have money to pay. When I was to go to the university, I had, after the first 1 year, to sell a motorcycle which I had while working as a clerical officer in Ibadan to pay for my first year in the university. But luck again came on when a company, they call it Richware, at Idukweju Estate, I attended the University of Lagos, was seeking for people to come and do part-time. So I went, about 100 of us went for the interview. They took 10. But because the job was so rigorous, you couldn't combine it with reading. After a week, it remained 3 of us. After about 2 weeks, it remained me alone because I had no other option. And you won't believe it, I did that job until 3 weeks to my final degree exam. That was how I was able to sustain my university education at the University of Lagos and be able, and before I went to university, I had 2 children with my wife, who was staying with my mother in Osogbo, and we didn't send money to them for their upkeep. Out of what I was earning on that part-time.
So did you ever consider quick means of illicit money to survive in spite of the difficult situation? Were you never tempted at all?
No, the kind of upbringing I had will never even bring that thought to me at all. My parents were illiterate, but they were straight in the way they brought up their children. So I will never do anything untoward. Before I actually became born again, when I became an adult. Now, you know, when I was going to church with my parents, I was just a child. I knew I was going to church. But even the inductions they were giving us, and what my mother was able to infuse to me, was such that I would never cut corners. So There's no way you cut corners and make it. You can be successful on a temporary basis, but eventually you are going to lose out. And that also was a major strength in me, which helped me through my university days, even when I started working. By the time I got to the civil service, the strength of character, of hard work, truthfulness, and diligence stood me in good stead. There was no guy I worked with that would want to miss me. When they want to deploy me, because I belong to the administrative class, which they deploy to any ministry, not the professionals. If you are Minister of Works, you are Minister of Works. If you are a doctor, you are Minister of Health. But I belong to the administrative class. They can deploy you to anywhere. But my guys always fight to retain me. And that eventually worked in my favor at the time. That was during the time of Governor Bolaigi as the governor of the then Oyo State. The head of service was late Mama Tejumade Alakija. They wanted to do a posting of admin class. And some ogas were fighting. I was working then as in the Ministry of Agriculture. My permanent secretary didn't want me to be posted away. Some other people then Mama Alakija said, okay, this is not like I want you to come and work in the governor's office. And that was where they put me in the policy coordination department of the governor's office. And from there, they made me the secretary to the cabinet. But don't be deceived, it was from there, before Bolaigi tenure ended, they made me a permanent secretary. So what you eventually find was that those kind of the way I've been brought up, as it were, stood me in high stead. Then whoever knew that somebody need from a bad job will become a permanent secretary. That was how I was appointed a permanent secretary.
And you retired as a permanent secretary?
I retired as Secretary of Government, Head of Service of Osun State. I was the very first Secretary of Government, Head of Service of Osun State when it was founded in 1991.
Fantastic. We've been speaking with Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba. The program continues after this short break. We'll be back.
Breaking barriers.
By continuing to push forward, by continuing to run toward my dream. Don't stop running toward your dream.
Have you ever had your back against the wall with harsh winds of life blowing against you? And did you think all hope was lost? Breaking barriers. Inspiring stories of incredible breakthrough.
I had told myself that I would never let the past destroy my future. And that's one thing I had in mind, that no matter what it costs, I will get where I want to go.
From hopelessness to fulfillment, from the valley to the mountaintop, from grass to grace, where there is a will, there is a way.
I believe in positive brainwash. When you get used to think positive thoughts, it becomes your default state of mind. This is why I love to hear about success stories. It motivates me and gives me hope. If others did it, I can do it too.
Breaking barriers.
You're welcome back onto the program. In fact, listening to your story, one would definitely know that it pays to have character and to persevere. That difficulties, it doesn't matter how long it tarries, eventually it will cave into hard work and the blessing of God. Now, apart from your success in the civil service, what other achievements could you point to in your journey through life?
Well, those days, the civil service was well respected.
Yes.
So if you are a senior officer in the civil service, you can influence a lot of things. By the grace of God, God used me to do a lot of things for my community. Not physically by my own hand, but by the position in which I was put. I motivated the rehabilitation of Igbajo Road and the tarring of the whole township road. I also contributed they have electricity, even in Bajo that time. Even the hospital, which we call health center, where they had then, God used to be one of those who facilitated it. Then not that alone, many Igbajos too who were seeking for appointment in the civil service, because they didn't know the civil service. It was through me that it was opened up to them. The little help one could render, one rendered it.
How do you relax, sir?
One means of my relaxation is playing golf. I'm a member of a Ikeja golf club, and during my year days, I had won competitions there before. You see that cup, that's 2003 Independence Day Cup, which I won. I played hole in one there. I did that in 2002, and my details are now in St Andrews, which is the headquarters of golf in Scotland now. Only that, but as of now, I just go to, I don't play competitive game again, but I go regularly to exercise and to play 18 hole, at least not less than twice a week, in company of friends.
You talked about singing, performing when you were younger. Who is your favorite musician now?
I love Sunny Ade music. I love Obi music. I also love some of these American, something like Michael Jackson and others. But since the time I became a born-again child of God, I love Christian music.
Can you sing any of your favorite songs for us?
One thing I sing literally every morning is Ẹ̀yin lọ́pẹ́ yẹ, ẹ̀yin nìyìn yẹ, ẹ̀yin lọ́pẹ́ yẹ, Jésù ọba. Because for my life, for what I've been, for my children, for all circumstances around me, I give glory to God. But for him, I wasn't destined to be anything.
Wow. What is your advice to youths in Nigeria, particularly this age that we are talking about, Yahoo, all kinds of vices?
Whatever they are doing, they do it in a godly manner. They do it right. They listen to the counsel of their parents. If I trust and pray, they counsel them. Because even the parents of nowadays were not like my own parents. I'm sorry to say, with due regard to them. Now, they should learn to do things right. Don't cut corners. Don't steal. Don't engage in any undue negativity. It could seemingly look hard. It is whatever is hard that the reward lasts forever. If you cut corners, you might look to be seemingly blessed, but the end ultimately is disaster. And that's where we find the way younger people now become distressed. Some are dead, some suddenly go to prison because of the negativities they engage upon. You should learn to struggle and trust God to let your struggle be rewarded. There is no way you walk well and you do the will of God that will not get to the height that God has destined for you. It is only way. Look, I'm not saying yes, go and be a pastor, but there's nothing as good as embracing what you call godliness. God has created every one of us to achieve a positive purpose. We should allow God to influence us, our body, spirit, and soul, to have that divine purpose for our life to be fulfilled.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
It's been rewarding listening to you, your story, everything about you actually gives strength to whoever has a positive mind to achieve something positive in life. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
We have been speaking with Chief Moses Inolaji Abuaba, former permanent secretary. You see, his story tells us that providence rewards diligence. So younger generation, the youth in this country, you have to learn to work hard. Hard work pays, and God is ever ready to reward hard work. Thank you very much for being there. It has been a rewarding a few minutes that I've been speaking with Chief Inolaji Abuaba. Until another time, when we'll be coming your way again with your regular presenter, Melanie, I am Abayomi Dayo Adeliji. Bye now.